Hello, everybody. Welcome to our webinar today. Our topic today is strategic portfolio management, and we're excited to bring you this important topic and trends in the marketplace today. My name is Jim Patterson with Wickersoft, and I'm joined today also by Joe Larscheid. We're going to be presenting you some concepts and demonstrating live software and capabilities today over the course of this presentation. A little bit of housekeeping. Everybody is in listen-only mode on this presentation, but there is a question panel within GoToWebinar that you can enter questions, and we will do our best to answer your questions during the course of the webinar. If not, we will answer them after the fact and send you an email with responses. If you get pulled away or distracted for something business-wise during the course of the presentation, do not worry. We are going to be sending out a copy of the slides and a link to a recording of the presentation once this is through. So with that, let's get started on strategic portfolio management. We are in the age of digital transformation in that age, and I'm sure we've all heard this ad nauseum, but it is the truth. And in this world, it really is, we either disrupt in the marketplace or we will be disrupted by things that are within our control or even out of our control. We can see examples of that in a variety of industries across the marketplace. In the travel industry, online booking and rideshare apps and status and notifications that we get have made a more digital experience where travel agents are really no longer the thing of vogue. Video rentals, gone from physical video rentals to streaming and mobile devices anywhere, anytime, disrupted that marketplace and took out the blockbusters of the world. In the music industry, record albums and CDs have been replaced by online digital audio and satellite radio and video services for the way people actually watch and listen to music at the same time. Newspapers, people are getting their news in different ways now, news feeds, social media, and even instant notifications and alerts of things that are happening out in the marketplace have supplanted to a large degree the newsprint that's out there today. Bookstores, with digital readers and collections you can take with you everywhere and buy instantly anywhere you are. Bookstores are dwindling and we don't see them out there like we used to. And even department stores, the way we buy things out there, online shopping with free and fast delivery and be able to get it from any device at any place has really taken the traditional brick and mortar department stores and taken more of that marketplace to reach consumers in a more online and digital fashion. And these are just some of the examples that you see out there where the industries have been disrupted, and either you went with that and you evolved with that disruption and innovated to meet the needs and address your customers in that way, or it could be disastrous for your business. Now, because of this age of digital disruption, the speed of change just continues to accelerate. Ideas and market forces shorten windows that we have to actually respond to that change and be able to innovate and come up with new ideas on ways to generate revenue and reach and serve the needs and expectations of our customers. Windows that used to be several years long on a market opportunity for your product or services may now be as little as 18 months, 12 months before you have to find the next one to go to and evolve to meet the needs of the evolving marketplace. Irrespective of that, disruption is ahead one way or another. We get disrupted all the time, and nothing could be more of an example of that than today that we have with the COVID-19 pandemic. It could be social, political, it could be economic disruptions that are out there. It could be changes in the marketplace for your particular industry. The idea of what is predictable that disruptions will occur, and we do have to be able to respond to those and adjust to those and make course corrections in a way that's meaningful for the survival and the thriving of our businesses and our organizations. To that need, we have to become more responsive. And we've talked about in prior webinars how customers need to get results and make decisions faster than ever before. To that end, the analysts are saying that organizations are what we call shifting to the left, meaning from a more traditional model where we do more type of traditional waterfall types of approaches with long-term projects with big plan, design, develop, build, and test processes all the way through a big bang delivery at the end. The shift to left model is more incremental, and we're delivering things in smaller chunks, quicker, adjusting to things and making course corrections in stream so that we make sure we're delivering the right things at the right time and delivering things that add the most value to an organization at any given point in time. Now, to that, we need to get to a place where we meet where we're at, but also meet the demands of a digital transforming age. We talked in our prior webinar about different kinds of portfolio management in the operational or execution side of things, where we had traditional project portfolio management with the more waterfallish type of approaches, and that many organizations are trying to move all the way over to that far left with a pure agile type of approach with more agile methods and frameworks to do things in a more agile and responsive way. And then a lot of people that are in the middle where they're using adaptive approaches to portfolio management, where they have a combination of the two, more traditional and more agile, and they may either stay there or be transitioning there on their way to a far left transition to more agile pieces. Now, we talked about this in terms of really managing and executing in-flight projects in prior webinar. We have to add the dimension of strategy to this and make sure that we're working on the right things and responding to the things that the organization wants to achieve from an overall objective perspective. So if we add that, what is strategic portfolio management? Well, strategic portfolio management, the acronym out there is SPM, is really a set of business capabilities, processes, and supporting portfolio management technology that helps us clearly define key business strategies and then desired business outcomes that we want from those strategies. It's not a separate and distinct piece. It is something that needs to be connected then to enterprise-wide execution activities so that the things that we're executing on will align with those strategies and making sure that we're working on the right things and helping support the business outcomes that we're trying to achieve. Now, strategic portfolio management ensures enterprise-wide strategy to execution alignment and also the communication of that to everyone in the organization so that we all know where we're rowing towards together in unison, as well as governance around that to make sure that we are continuing on the right path and we're following those things from a process perspective. It also allows for adaptation when strategies shift or evolve due to changing priorities or emergent business disruptions. We talked about disruptions that we're going through today. It increases the need where those strategies need to be changed, need to be modified, need to be communicated to the rest of the organization, and then everyone can understand where we need to pull to or where we need to focus our efforts in order to support the overall strategy architecture. So in aligning with strategies, we have the overall corporate strategies that can have different horizons, whether they be short, mid, or long-term in nature. And then we have the portfolio management, where we have strategic portfolio management, which is the focus of our webinar today, which then is closely then aligned with our operational portfolio management. And that's where we have the different methods or types of portfolio management that we described in the prior slide. And then that in turn needs to be aligned with the execution and project management that we're doing at the execution levels of our organization. If we're in harmony and alignment with this, we increase the likelihood that we're going to achieve our strategies. And then at the execution level, we're ensuring that we're working on the right things that are going to deliver the right value for not only our organization, but for our customers, both internal and external. So what are some of the current trends? When you look at the analysts out there today, like Gartner, they say that the PPM market is evolving to support the expanding technology needs of enterprises engaged in digital business, which more and more of us are. Even brick and mortar companies tend to be more digital and have technology that's driving their success. And that program and portfolio management leaders in organizations are establishing strategic portfolio management and continuous delivery capabilities and are increasingly investing in these strategic portfolio management technologies. Now, Gartner predicts that by 2024, 50% of all programs and portfolio management leaders will integrate complementary technologies that enable both the portfolio decision-making at the strategic level and also the adaptive work management for digital business transformation, meaning they'll be doing more on the strategic side and putting things in place for that, as well as on the execution and the adaptive work management side of things. The impacts is that digital business transformation is driving two separate yet complementary technology types. One is strategic portfolio management, which we're here to focus on today, as well as the adaptive project management, which spawns the execution that needs to happen to help drive those business outcomes. Now, the analysts are saying that enterprises that do not adopt technology supporting strategic portfolio management will likely not be fully successful in digital business or in resolving business disruptions. That could be due to an inability to make informed investment decisions based upon putting those practices and disciplines in place. And that business and IT leaders are indeed adopting strategic portfolio processes as well as acquiring the supporting technology to help them execute on those things. So it is already happening, and it's trending to where that's happening more and more. And as I said, by 2024, 50% of organizations are predicted to be in that mode. So the changes that are needed is that PPM leaders really need to evolve their portfolio or project management functions for digital business, and they must evaluate the most suitable technologies available that can support the strategic portfolio management and adaptive project management. They need to adopt the processes and, more importantly, a mindset that supports these things, as well as align strategies to portfolio management and execution to measure and achieve the desired outcomes. It's not only important that we define what those strategies are, but we have to have mechanisms to measure how we're progressing against those things and are we indeed achieving them. So some of the methods to make that happen are using what we call objectives and key results, or is commonly referred to as OKRs. And what those are is a revolutionary approach to both goal setting and to make tough choices in business under any circumstances. This is something that's evolved over time. Back in the 1970s, Intel's management by objectives was a starting place for this, and we've heard about over the decades of MBOs, or management by objectives. And later on in the late 1999, 2000s range, Google really embedded this whole OKR process into their company culture and the way they do business and do goal setting and tracking, where today we now have major digital businesses of many types and of marquee logos that have embraced and utilized this in digital organizations everywhere. So this is something that there is a foundation and there is a track record for. So what is an OKR? Defined as objectives and key results. It's a management methodology that helps ensure that the company focuses efforts on the same important issues throughout the organization. Like we said, we all want to be rowing or steering towards the same objectives and the same results. When we talk about an objective is what you want to do. And a key result is how you know if you've achieved it. So say, for an example, on an objective side, you might want to define, say, 3 or so key results for each objective to tangibly measure whether or not we are progressing towards that objective or if we have achieved it. And those key results should be measurable, should be easy to grade, and they should describe outcomes, not activities or busyness, but have we actually achieved some things or made progress towards the actual result that we are looking for. And this can be done at a variety of levels. If we think about the alignment we talked about earlier on, these alignments can happen, or these OKRs can happen at different levels of the structure, both organizationally and work-wise. Now, John Doerr, who had the definitive book on this topic called Measure What Matters, there's a quote from that says, a healthy OKR environment strikes a balance between alignment and autonomy, common purpose and creative latitude, meaning it wants to make sure that we're moving in a common direction for a common purpose, but it also, done right, is not going to stifle innovation, creativity, and also the autonomy that we need to have that innovation and those ideas come through into the organization to the benefit of that organization. You know, organizational level wise, you might have executive OKRs on things like what is our strategic focus overall. A departmental OKR could be how can we contribute to that company strategy in our departmental functional area? How can we contribute to make sure that the executive OKR is achieved? And then when it comes to actually translating this into actual work, OKRs could be at different levels of, say, whether it's a strategic OKR, is it a more tactical, operational OKR, or even at a personal level, OKRs that we want for our own personal growth or personal objectives, as well as the different hierarchies of work. When we think about scaled agile or other scaled types of portfolio management, you can have OKRs, say, at a portfolio level, or maybe at an individual program level or a different product level, even down to an individual feature level that we're trying to achieve. OKRs can be there with the objectives set at those levels and the key results that we're looking for to achieve at those levels. Now today, Joe is going to be demonstrating for us OnePlan. And OnePlan is designed to provide strategic and adaptive project management solutions in the Microsoft Cloud. Its primary strength is it really connects that strategy level down to the execution level and has specific capabilities that allows those things to work in autonomy, yet be connected together. Traditionally, in a more operational portfolio, we've talked about this before, and we did an adaptive project management a webinar last week that you can see a recording on. But if you think about the portfolio level things like portfolio execution planning and resource capacity planning and financial planning, all the way down to the work management and the execution levels where actual tasks and work are actually being performed, that's the traditional, more operational portfolio that we're talking about. And what we're going to be introducing here today is that strategic level. And in that strategic level, you have to add that to the mix, where the more operational portfolio is really trying to fulfill on the overall strategic portfolio that we have defined. And that's where the objectives and the key results and the tracking of those things becomes important. Defining the objective, identifying the metrics and the key results that help us stay on track and actually push us to make sure that we're actually making progress to the things that we've stated that we want to do and fulfill on the commitment that we've made to do those things. And in OnePlan, that strategic portfolio management piece is something that is configurable depending on the nature of your business and the type of objectives and key results that you're looking at. But as you can see in this screen, have current metrics that let us know how we're progressing tangibly. And from a score or current metric perspective, are we making progress towards that objective with the key results that we are achieving? And one of the beauties of this solution with OnePlan is it's built in the Microsoft Cloud for Office 365 and the Power Platform. So many organizations today that are using Microsoft for Office 365 and their business productivity can surface and access these capabilities from within Microsoft Teams, from within SharePoint, from within Azure DevOps for the Agile folks, or even from within things like Project Online, or even within Dynamics 365, meaning if you're in a Microsoft shop, these capabilities can be seamlessly become part of your overall Microsoft user experience and add this strategic capability to the mix. So with that, I'd like to transition over to Joe and have him give you a demonstration of this stuff in action and show how it can be implemented and executed on today.
Great, thanks, Jim. All right, today I'll be showing you a quick demo of OnePlan strategic portfolio management solution using OKRs. But I'm going to start here in Microsoft Teams. Microsoft Teams is a collaboration hub that allows organizations to collaborate and share these strategies and goals with their team. So here I am logged into Microsoft Teams. I'm going to go ahead and click on my OnePlan tab here to get the visibility into my different objectives and key results. And so in this view here, you'll see a list of objectives that I have access to see. Now, these objectives can be corporate, they could be departmental, they can even be personal objectives that you might want to set up for your employees. But essentially, this is what I can see here as my different objectives. So a few of the objectives I'm participating in is growing our company's global business. I am part of improving customer excellence, launching new products successfully, transferring corporate culture, and launching customer communities. Over here, if we see which departments are responsible for each one of these objectives, who the primary lead might be, the priority for the organization, what target date we might be looking to achieve these objectives. That could be an annual one, could be a quarterly one. And then over on the right-hand side, you can see the progress we're making on these objectives. I can easily sort these to see which objectives we are doing well and which ones we might be being a little bit more challenged at. I can also group these objectives. So maybe I want to look up these objectives by, as I mentioned earlier, the business unit. So who owns which objectives? Or maybe I want to look at them by the status, so which ones are going off track or at risk. Or as I mentioned, maybe the type, so which ones are strategic, which ones are more tactical, which ones might be personal. So I can group these different objectives up in different ways. I also can expand these objectives, and underneath these objectives, you're going to see the key results. Essentially, these are the results that you're looking to measure in order to achieve these objectives. And these key results are measurable. So for example, if I was to go into one of these key results and open it up here, you'll see on the right-hand side, this particular key result is active. You can see it's aligned to the improved customer excellence objective. Gavin is the lead on this particular key result. It's a high priority result. Marketing business unit is in lead of this one. Our target date is October. And right now, this particular key result is at risk. To measure this key result, you'll see below here, we're looking at the number of interviews that we want to conduct to get feedback from customers. So right now, our target number is to get 20 interviews completed. And you'll see today we're sitting at 15, so that gives us about 75% of achievement for this particular objective. Now, one of the nice things about using OnePlan is the ability to take this key result, and we could actually build out a little work plan to help us come up with the plan to achieve this result. So for example, to conduct these interviews, I may need to first select customers. What are my 20 customers I want to send surveys to? I need to develop the survey. I need to develop an email inviting customers to the survey. Develop a thank you email after they've completed the surveys, and then I need to send these surveys out. So I can put a nice little schedule together here. I can use Microsoft Project. I can use Project for the Web. Any type of execution tool that you might be more familiar with and that you like to use. I can share this with my team, so my team can get notified of the tasks that need to get done on this particular key result. So this just lets you collaborate and get people engaged on achieving these results. Now, capturing the results of these, you want to capture your results on a periodic basis. So you can capture results on a weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly basis. And essentially, two ways you can do this. One, you can manually come in to update your key results. This is how we see a lot of people doing that. They basically would select the period that they want to update. Or you can actually have this automated. So you can have this connected to maybe your financial system, so you get your monthly revenue, or maybe your sales system to get your monthly sales bookings. And so that can automatically be fed in as well. And here you'll quickly see is if I go back to Monday, July 27th, we only had done 7 interviews. If I go in here and go to the August 3rd, we're now up to 13 interviews. And then now on August 10th, we're now at 15. So we're doing weekly check-ins here. But essentially, a user would be able to come in, update the current number, put in a narrative, and then submit this particular key result for approval. And that essentially starts to roll this back up into the portfolio here of your strategy. You can also create different views when you're looking across these different strategies. For example, maybe I want to look at these key results by business unit. So I want to quickly see which business unit owns which key result and how are they achieving to their strategies and their results. Maybe I want to look at them by, again, status, which key results are going off track, which ones are at risk, which ones we need to focus on and get teams really pushing on these different strategies and objectives. Also might want to prioritize these key results. So obviously we have our high, medium, low over here as an indicator of which ones we think are high or low. But I can also do a stack ranking. So I can actually communicate to the team from a ranking standpoint, which key result is the highest importance to us as an organization. So I could take something, it might be a lower priority here for us down here. Let's say, for example, achieve weekly employee satisfaction pulse score, because we want to make sure employees are happy. And I want to bring that up, and I'm going to put that underneath, increase the company average deal size by 25%. So now what I have here is a stack rank score against that key result. And so we can get an idea of the priority around this, this key result here. I also might want to look at this from a board perspective. So in this particular view here, you're going to see I have my different objectives across the top that have access to see. I also can see my key results stacked below, and I'm grouping them by priority, so high, medium, and low. You'll also see in here which one of these key objectives are going off track or at risk. And you also see dependencies. So you can create dependencies between your key results and your objectives. So you can quickly see that this particular achieve a product engagement of 80%. is at risk, and it is connected to win a Best Product of the Year award. So you now know that we are at risk of winning this Best Product of the Year award because of this particular key objective is falling behind here. So just a nice way to kind of get some visuals on how we are achieving and where we stand. We also might want to look at this board maybe by status. So quickly here, another view to quickly see, again, the same problem we have here, this particular key result being off track, and how that associates with, again, that same key objective of Best Product of the Year award. Another view you might want to look at is a roadmap view. So you might want to see, let's say right now we're looking at by business unit, what objectives we're trying to get done by which time and the current status of them. So I could take this and I could group it by, again, like type. So if I want to look at strategic or tactical, personal, you could look at corporate, department, employees level types of objectives as well. And then lastly here in this demonstration, part of this demonstration is reports. So obviously being able to capture all these objectives, key results, strategies, and results, you might want to come in and create all types of reports to be able to report up to management. So in this particular report, I'm looking at overall as an organization, or at least for the objectives that I have access to see, we have achieved 43% of progress. There are 7 objectives here. And here is where I can actually come in and say, well, I want to look at the marketing team's overall objectives success. And so you'll see here as I click on marketing, we have 3 objectives and they're currently only at 38% of progress. I might want to look at the product development teams. They have only 2 objectives and at 40%. And then IT here, you'll see has 2 objectives and they're at 52%. It kind of gives you an idea of how well each department or business unit is doing. I can also go in here and drill into these. So if I wanted to go in here and say, let's go into this particular objective and look at the status, I can then drill into that particular status and see trends over time. I can see the overall percentage of progress for that particular objective, and I can see the details behind the key results here as well. I might also want to look at it in a different type of view here as well, just kind of giving you the details versus the summary information around that objective. Also might want to look overall what objectives are doing really well, which ones are falling behind. So I can quickly see my increase our brand awareness needs a lot more attention. So we need to make that a focus probably going into this next quarter, that we want to spend more time trying to figure out how to increase our brand awareness, as our improved customer excellence seems to be right on track and doing very well. And lastly, the same type of report here, I can get down to my key results. And so I can quickly see here my key results, which ones are doing well, which key results we need to get some more investment into. So for example, getting into the Gartner Magic Quadrant, we need to put some work into that, and reducing churn to less than 5% annually is another key result we need to focus in on. Again, you can kind of group this around the different departments. So you can quickly see in IT, we're still struggling a little bit and what key results we need to achieve. Marketing looks to be doing fairly well, but has quite a bit of key results to also be focusing on. And then product development seems to be doing well as well and has a couple that they need to be focusing on going into this next quarter as well. So this is a quick way you can use OnePlan to help you build out your strategic plan, collaborate it with teams, build a work plan around that, and then share with the rest of the organization. Now, as Jim mentioned earlier, we can connect this strategy to your execution tools. So the first one I'm going to show here is using Azure DevOps. So obviously, organizations that are building out their agile plans and backlogs using Azure DevOps might want to tie that execution to strategy. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is come down here to OnePlan, and I'm going to click on portfolios here. And essentially what we'll be able to do is everything I just showed you in Microsoft Teams, we'll be able to build it here in Azure DevOps. So I can actually build out my strategy, and then I can align those strategies to my different levels of execution. So it could be programs, epics, features, and so forth. So in this demonstration, you'll see we actually renamed objectives to be strategic themes. So using more of the scaled agile lean portfolio management terminologies, you'll see here in this organization, we have 3 strategic themes. We want to grow our corporate global business, increase customer excellence, and increase productivity. And underneath each one of these, we have our key results. So how are we going to measure these objectives or strategic themes? So one of the things I can do here is I'll just switch this view over to my lean portfolio summary. And you'll see that within OnePlan, we actually synchronize within Azure DevOps the structure within the backlog items. So you'll see here, I have my portfolio, my value streams, epics, features, can go down to user stories if needed. But you'll notice over here on the right, you'll see how these particular work items are aligned to my associated strategic themes. And so this is how you can actually start to build out your work plan using Azure DevOps and others, and you can start to then associate to them. So for example, I'll come down to open these up here, and you'll see if I go in here and I go to quick edit, I can see now that this particular epic here, is support customer using mobile, is associated to two strategic themes, customer excellence and increased productivity. Now I can actually go into this particular item here in Azure DevOps and manage this from Azure DevOps as well. So here I am logged in to this particular epic. I'm able to manage all my backlog items here for this particular epic, but I also can click on OnePlan. So if I wanted to update any other key metadata within OnePlan, like the strategic theme or the objectives for this particular epic, I can do that right from the Azure DevOps interface as well. So you'll see here, these are the two. Maybe I have to add one more. And so now we have all three strategic themes are aligned to this particular epic. So that's just one way of connecting your execution work within Azure DevOps to your strategy. Another example is connecting to maybe more of an adaptive approach, or maybe more traditional project for the web or project online type of approach. And so in here, you'll see OnePlan also integrates and connects with Power Apps, and it allows you to actually synchronize your strategy into Power Apps. So you'll see here, I can see the same strategies we were just looking at earlier, and I can come in and I can click on any one of these objectives, and I can then connect this to other Power Apps entities that might be connected to. So for example, if I'm using projects or in here, I can actually connect these initiatives and objectives to those projects. And so this allows you, even if you're more of an adaptive or traditional project management type of organization, and using things like Power Apps or SharePoint or Project Online, you can actually build out your project plans there and then associate those to those strategic plans that I was showing you earlier there. So that's going to complete the demo for today. Jim?
Thank you, Joe. Appreciate the overview. That was a great demo and overview of the capabilities. I'd like to now summarize and wrap up for the presentation here today. Just in summary of the topics and the ideas that we put forth here. Strategic portfolio management, often acronymed as SPM, is a critical success factor for today's digital businesses, and that SPM should be aligned with more adaptive project management execution in order to achieve desired outcomes. OKRs, which are objectives and key results, define what you want to do and measure if you are achieving them. And OnePlan provides a pre-configured strategic portfolio management solution for the Microsoft Cloud, and also facilitates alignment with adaptive project management as is needed to do this in a fully functional manner. It also provides for flexible configuration that easily addresses various use cases that you may have for your organization. And it also provides it all in a modern web-based user experience that's expected by today's users. Now, for those of you that don't know, OnePlan is provided to us by Wickersoft, and Wickersoft is a multi-gold certified Microsoft partner who has a particular focus in the areas of project and portfolio management, and extending that to overall work management and strategy. We have a global footprint and can support any size of organization in the ways that we do to help boost productivity, improve business agility, and build a modern workplace and solutions and processes around that. We are a full service firm that provides implementation services for solutions as well as education and training. We provide ongoing support for organizations that would like that, as well as advisory services for people that are transforming, and things like business agility, and the topics and the subject matter that we talked about here are just part of that mix. If you're interested in pursuing this further, you might want to engage us on a free strategy workshop where we can help to review your current use of portfolio management or other PPM tools and assess current requirements and desired future state, and determine how to implement or how you would migrate or add in the SPM solution capabilities that you saw here today. And we can give you an idea of an implementation roadmap for best adoption success and what that might cost from a time and a budget perspective in order to make that happen. So from a next steps perspective, you might want to engage with us and contact us for a roadmap workshop on those. Also, if you are intrigued by the things that Joe showed you today, we can actually embark you upon a chaperone trial of the solution with Wickersoft support. Or if you're not that far along and you want to learn more, more than the generalized stuff that we showed you today and more personalized things, we can arrange a one-on-one demonstration to address the requirements and the use cases that your organization might have in front of you. We do these webinars on a regular basis. Last week we have a recorded one that's out there on the adaptive project management and reporting piece, so you can see more in depth about that part of the topic. And our next webinar on August 27th is called Shifting Left Towards Business Agility. So elaborating more on that whole shifting left concept that we alluded to earlier in this particular webinar. So a little more details on that aspect. So with that, I'd like to thank you for your time and your attention today. We have on-demand and upcoming webinars that you can register for at oneplan.ai/webinars. And if you would like to engage with us, and we hope you will, you can reach us at contact@oneplan.ai, and we're happy to support you in any way that you need. So thank you again, and hope you all have a great day.